Colossians says, who hath delivered us, past tense, from the power of darkness. You're not held bound by fear or darkness or any of that nonsense. You've been delivered. Hath delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. The moment you said, Jesus, I make you the Lord and Savior of my life, boom, you're in the kingdom. When you believed it with your heart, I'm talking about true salvation. I'm not talking about because somebody led you and you half believed it. I'm talking about being saved. When that happened, boom. Ephesians says you've been seated with Christ in heavenly places. Now you'll spend the rest of your earthly life renewing your mind to that fact. You have to renew your mind. Paul said it this way. This is translated, our spirit come into the kingdom. The next verse, Romans 12:2 said, and do not be conformed to this world. Stop thinking like them. Stop taking your cues from them. It's amazing in the church where people take their cues from. And never stop and say, what do you think, God? I mean, I do call you Lord and Savior, but maybe a good idea to maybe act like you were. What does Lord and Savior mean? It means we're a slave to Christ. Paul said, I'm chained with a chain. This is why we got to watch it when we say, well, God told me to do this, but. You've really got to get rid of that. And I'm preaching to myself too. I've not arrived. There's still times God says things to me and I'm like, mine goes tilt and I'm like, really? But then we're working on renewing our mind to just step in to obedience. And it doesn't have to be, I don't preach this message that you used to hear, if it's not instant obedience, it's disobedience. I don't preach that. And here's why. God will work with us. He loves us. Now, there's going to be a point to where he's going to kind of put his foot down as a good father will do and say, you need to really get on that. I don't believe that we should be testifying 15 years later that God told us to do something, we're still wrestling. Okay, now that's a little bit, far-fetched. And then we'll ask the question, wonder why God's not saying anything to us. He's saying, he's done said it.